Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings, is brought to you by Custom Auto Sound, the originator of classic car OEM fit radios since 1977. Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Borla, the world's most winning exhaust. And by UACE 3D Max Spider Custom Fit Floor Mats, redefine protection.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings. You know, when soldiers came back from World War II, they brought back their love for the Jeep. They loved being off-road and having a vehicle that was capable, again, both off-road and in town. And it wasn't until the mid-60s that the big car makers really capitalized on that when Ford came up with the Bronco. Well, in 1966, the first Bronco rolled out and the world was in love.
There were three versions offered when the Bronco was introduced in 1966. The Roadster, which was a bare bones, no frills model. It didn't come with a top, often just had two seats in it, fiberglass door inserts in it, so it didn't have hard doors on it. It was like a Jeep CJ5, and that was used probably by a lot of agricultural type uses. Then there was the sports utility, which was a short, what we call now a half cab, like a Bronco pickup. You saw those used by hunters and fishermen and also by dealerships and service stations where you might use it as a runabout in a business. And then the wagon, which sold the most, and the wagon was then a full top and you could get a back seat in it and two bucket seats or a bench seat. That was the most popular. That was probably used most by families. The Roadster probably seemed like a pretty good idea. I think people, though, quickly realized that they wanted something with a little more weather protection. So that first year they sold 4,000 Roadsters. The second year they sold 698. And the third year they sold only 212. That showed Ford pretty quickly that this market, even though it might look like a lot of fun in the ads, real life is often a little different. You want a roof over your head and maybe some doors and windows that roll up. There were a lot of the Roadsters actually had doors and tops added to them just so they could be sold.
Every spring, Ford Bronco owners get together for what they call the Bronco Super Celebration in Tennessee. And every one of those Bronco owners loves to show off their vehicle.
This 78 Ford Bronco. It's the second generation, and there was only 78 and 79 of this model. Bought it about 5 years ago, and then spent about 3 years working on it. It was pretty much a basket case. I knew it had quite a bit of rust, but I didn't have any idea how bad it was until I got into it. Many different parts and pieces, new quarters, different doors, different fenders. The engine's been totally went through, new TCI transmission, new gears front and rear. Every bolt from one end to the other has been touched. The whole purpose of this is something for me and my son to work on. In fact, the decision-making process was he wanted something loud and side pipes and all that, and 78 was the last year of no catalytic converters. 79, same body style, but I couldn't run the headers and the side pipes and all that, so that's how we come up with this. I kind of grew up with them being everywhere. I've been to a lot of shows, I've been to this event a couple years in a row, and I don't see a lot of them in this condition. I really didn't know what we were creating at the time, so we've been real happy with it.
One thing I loved about the Super Celebration, it seemed like every Bronco had a really cool story behind it.
So I bought it when I was 18. I'm 23 now. I bought it from my stepdad. He had a yard full of routing away ones, you know, the usual, I'm gonna fix that one day. But he parted with this one. It was in really, really bad shape. Sat for 10 years, was used as a plow truck before. I took it down to the frame, took the whole body off of it, redid the frame, put a 3.5-inch lift on it, and 33-inch boggers. Then the old body was in such bad shape I had to find a new one. So from the windshield back, it's actually an older 66, 67 maybe. The only thing I used from the original body was the grille. The rear quarters are new. I had ordered them online and they came. They weren't so very nice. They were supposed to be stamped metal, but it was full Bondo. So I sanded that all the way down to bare metal, and there's just minimal fiberglass. The flares on it are the same as what the front are, so it's a nice smooth look. All new wiring, all new everything else basically is in there. Like, my stepdad is a mechanic, and so I learned a lot of my mechanical skills that way. And then my boyfriend does body work, so he helped me out a little bit with that and kind of told me like what I needed to do and how to do it, and he helped some. And I actually didn't paint it because I didn't know how to paint and I didn't want to mess that up because it's a big part. So his brother actually painted it for me. So my original goal was just to get it out on the street, to be able to drive it. As I kept going further with it, I was like, no, I gotta make it perfect. I gotta make it perfect. It's not perfect, but it's way more than what I ever thought it was gonna be. So I still have some wiring to do with it, and I don't wanna put a roll cage in it yet, but I'm pretty close.
If you want to learn more about classic Broncos, check out our show, Brand New Muscle Car, Classic Bronco. It's on our YouTube channel for Masters Entertainment Group. Lots of great shows on there. You can also find past episodes of Motorhead Garage. And if you have something you'd like to see featured on our show, be sure to email Jeff at masterstv.com. Until next week, we will see you here in Motorhead Garage, presented by NHOU Protective Coatings.